Kingdom of Jisatsu, Book 1, The Seven Angels of Sin, written and illustrated by me. Hello, thanks for reading. Before we continue, let's give off an introduction to Jisatsu and his fellow seven angels. This book also portrays the seven deadly sins. Jisatsu is a kingdom and an afterlife combined. The main seven angels represent the seven deadly sins: lust, gluttony, pride, sloth, envy, greed, and wrath. Each angel has a heavenly virtue. Here in Jisatsu, it's guided by a golden gateway, which is guarded by three heroes: Lucy, Bella, and Clockworker Chloe. In fact, Jisatsu is a mix of heaven and hell. Go to the next page to see the angels. Scott Langton. Scott, aka the Angel of Lust, was a duke of Jisatsu, governing a harem. Despite him being rejected by his close friend and crush, Laura, Scott forged a contact that involved with lust. He then abducted and defiled numerous women with using his powers. Claire Griffin. Claire, aka the Angel of Gluttony, was an evil food eater of Jisatsu. Obsessed with food since before death, Claire made a contract to taste all the world's foods, leading her to eat the most grotesque foods imaginable. In pursuit of her obsession, she eventually devoured herself. Juliet Alexander. Juliet, aka the Angel of Pride, was a princess in Jisatsu and Samuel's girlfriend. And upon first arrival, she seemed like a missing and important angel to Jisatsu, so she became its monarch. When she was executed, her monarchy was passed to Samuel. Polly Smith. Polly, aka the Angel of Sloth, was the sleep princess for Jisatsu. She gives gifts to citizens every night to help them sleep, but one night she used one of her gifts on herself. Kate Evans. Kate, aka the Angel of Envy, was a tailor in Jisatsu. She usually sees her husband with another girl. When she does, she steals clothes from those girls. James Griffin. James, aka the Angel of Greed, was a judge for Jisatsu. Accepting bribes to save the guilty and convict the innocent, he collected many vessels. He also has a part-time job to serve food to his sister, Claire. Emily Warren. Emily, aka the Angel of Wrath, was an assassin in Jisatsu. After carrying out a job to kill her boyfriend, she swore vengeance on James. Time to get to the story. Chapter 1, Mr. Langton's Dance of Lust. Today again, a lovely lady pays Scott a visit. With a smile, she will become his new wife. By contact, he obtained the power. All of the women who see him fell into a charm. Having attained the power to charm women, he brings women his fantasies one after another to the cellar of his mansion, where he lives alone. He created a harem. The flavor of libido was hidden poison, the pleasure that thrust blade and the blood and sweat mixed together, and before long they change to drops of purple. If the clothes come off and they embrace, they'll never return to reality. The old portraits she burned, the abandoned days of his past, Scott wanted to forget that face that everyone and scornfully laughed at. He embraced and was kissed by Laura. She was once a childhood friend who made a fool out of him. One day, women all over Jisatsu, before they knew it, dropped out of sight, one after another. People were at a loss, some losing their wives and sometimes their daughters. The color libido stained in darkness, strained in infinite lust. The illusion swallowed down everything. Scott's humanity is already gone. This is what he worked for, a night of ignominy. Today again, a lovely lady comes to visit him. Come here too, what? My chest. Let's dance in my harem, said Scott. The instant she drew close with him, and when he held her and smiled, his chest is stained in blood with a sudden sharp pain. A young man who was searching for his vanished love determined she was in the mansion where Scott lives. And dressed as a woman, he drew close to the Duke and thrust into him a dagger from his pocket. Pierced by a dagger with hidden poison, Scott collapsed then and there. Blood, sweat mixed together, and before long they changed into drops of purple. His spell's broken, and all the women came into their senses and rushed from the mansion. Looking at him for just a moment, the last to leave was Laura. "Wait, I love you," said Scott as his corpse was left behind. Chapter 2, Miss Griffin's Party of Gluttony. In a corrupted mansion with a rotten stench hanging in the air, today as well as the Last Supper begins. With numerous foods that could make anyone's hair stand on end, is the lone smile of a woman looking to eat. Her name is Claire Griffin, formerly a master of Jisatsu's gourmet foods. To the end, what she pursued was to Extreme's most supreme food. "Honor and praise are good, Claire," said Grace, Claire's servant. "This kingdom's food all exists for you," said Harry, Claire's other servant. Claire will devour anything in Jisatsu, and there is always room in her belly. The pale blue, shining deadly poison is more suitable as a spice for the main dish. She'll chew down to the bone marrow. If it's not enough, she'll even bite into the dishes too. The tip of her tongue running with bliss, the dinner isn't over by a long shot. "Might I take a vacation soon?" asked Gabriel, as Gabriel, Claire's 15th cook, employed this year. "Good grief, you can't do anything with these people," replied Claire. "Honor and praise are great, Claire," said Grace. "Let's give thanks for receiving traitors, just desserts," said Harry. Claire will still devour anything in Jisatsu. Today's menu is a severed chef's head. The pale blue shining hair is just right as an appetizer for the salad. She's still chew anything down to the bone marrow, and if that's enough, she'll give off seconds. "Oh dear, little service over there," said Claire. "What do you taste like, I wonder?" Before long, her mansion was completely empty. There's nothing inside. There wasn't anything anymore. Nevertheless, she continued to desire Extreme's most supreme food. "There is still something to eat," said Claire as she looked at her own hand. Claire's last evil food, the ingredients were her very self. Now there's no longer anyone who knows the flavor of the body that has really mastered foods. Chapter 3, Miss Alexander's Kingdom of Pride. Once upon a time, reigning at the top of a beautiful kingdom was a princess of age 24, named Princess Alexander. Luxurious and splendid furnishings, a servant who she fell in love a long time ago, a favorite horse named Jennifer, everything belonged to her. If there wasn't enough money, she'll took it from the ignorant masses. Those that would oppose her will be completely purged. "Come, kneel to me," said Princess Alexander. Flowers sweetly bloom with brilliant color. The pitiful weeds around her turn to nourishment and rot away. Princess Alexander used to fall in love with a man across the sea, though he fell in love at first sight with a woman in his country. Princess Alexander, mad with jealousy, summoned her servant. "Ruin this palace kingdom," she told him. Many houses reduced to ashes, many lives disappearing. The suffering people's obligations don't read the princess. The bell struck, and she said, "Oh, it must be tea time." Flowers sweetly bloom with maddening color. Although they're very lovely, there are too many thorns to touch them. To overthrow Princess Alexander for being too overpowered, at last the people rose up. Leading the disorderly mob was a red-armored swordsman named Alice. The rage accumulated information wrapped upon the whole kingdom. Soldiers, tired from the long war, were a threat. Finally, they surrounded the palace. The retainers broke into the castle, and the adorable, lovely princess at last was captured. "What are you doing here?" Princess Alexander yelled. Flowers still sweetly bloom with colors that seem sad. The paradise for her will collapse, and was brittle and translucent. Once upon a time, there was a 24-year-old girl who used to rule a beautiful kingdom. The time of her execution was 3 p.m., a time where church bells rang. The person who was called Princess, was they in Cologne in jail? Finally, the time had arrived along within, and the bell started signaling the ending ring. Without bothering to look at the crowd, Princess Alexander's last words were, "Oh, it must be tea time." Flowers swiftly turned to nourishment and rotted away with brilliant color. As the townsfolk celebrated, the monarchy will pass on, and the prince's servant will become the prince. Chapter 4, Miss Smith's Gift of Sloth. "Sleep with this gift here. "You will sleep well with this gift," said Polly, giving this gift to her husband. "After all, she is a sleep princess for the sake of her husband's happiness." The marriage between Polly and her husband, Keith, has decided by the result of the politics. But nevertheless, she loved him. He was an incompetent playboy, wallowing in desire. She loved him before then. Keith was only after the wealth doctor, his daughter. But aside from that, Polly is happy nonetheless. He may also forget the promise as they made before they both died, if she can be by his side. Because of Keith being troubled by his feelings of anxiety, Polly had a very good medicine for those that his feelings. He can have pleasant dreams, so his worn body can be here. It's a present from her. Polly was really desperate when it comes to her giving the gift to Keith. She really wants him to sleep with the gift she gives him. After all, she is a sleep princess for the sake of her husband's happiness. Polly believes that everyone has a share of worries, including her dad, her mom, and everyone in Jisatsu. For the sake of everyone who can't sleep at night, she'll make a gift called sleeping medicine. Unpleasant reality and quiet feelings. It can be forgotten inside a dream, claimed Polly, still convincing Keith to accept the gift. Like the baby in the crib, with your eyes closed, abandon yourself. Everyone accepted and swallowed Polly's gift and became happy. Each and every one, as the only one who can't sleep, Polly instead obtained freedom and riches. Polly still, despite this pride when. And still desperate when giving Keith a gift, and still wanting him to sleep with that gift. She's still the sleep princess and the woman who sought hope. In the days where Polly was only used like a cute decorated doll, now she is completely broken and wants to destroy everything. Polly indeed made a very effective medicine. So effective, one will be able to sleep forever. With this, she'll finally be able to sleep too. She'll become from Jisatsu's sleep princess to Jisatsu's sleeping princess. Chapter 5, Miss Evans' Slope of Envy. In a small town of Jisatsu, a 20-year-old woman owns a tailor shop. Good-natured with a skilled hand, she is the talk of the neighborhood. The tailor's name is Kate. Her husband, Elliot, is always on her mind. Despite having someone like me, he never comes home, she said. However, she has to keep at her work. She tightly grips her scissors in one hand. With these sewing scissors inherited from her mother, the more she sharpens, the better they cut. Today, like always indeed, with the neighborhood is calm and peaceful. That's when until Kate checked on Elliot to see another woman with him. She wore a red kimono, and he seemed affectionate with her. Kate couldn't stand the sight of him, so she left that place. However, she still wants to keep at her work, so she tightly grips her scissors in her hand. Her face is completely wet with tears. She works hard to make a kimono that looks like that woman. For some reason, the air in the town is uneasy. It seems like there's an incident. Kate checked down the bridge and saw Elliot with another woman. With depressed air to him, he nestled against a woman who had beautiful hair. She even wore a green obi. "Ah, so that's the kind of girl you like," said Kate. However, she still has to keep at her work, so she tightly grips her scissors in her hand. She cleared her red eyes as she works hard to mend an obi that looks like that woman. Suddenly, the ground was going restless. It seems like there's another incident. Kate checked inside a hairpin shop and saw Elliot with another woman, who's very young. He's buying an ordinary yellow hairpin. "What do you think you're doing?" said Kate. "You really are indiscriminate." However, she still has to keep at her work, so she tightly grips her scissors in her hand. "Were the scissors always this color?" asked Kate, as she works hard to make a hairpin that looks like that woman. At long last, Kate finished her work. If Elliot won't come see her, she'll go see him herself. The kimono, the obi, the hairpin, she became the kind of woman he'll like. "Aren't I beautiful?" she asked. Today, the whole entire town seems to be completely chaotic. This time, a man has been killed. Somehow, and now it seems like an entire family of 4 has been killed by someone. And then, at any rate, Elliot seems like a cruel man to Kate. He said, "Hello, it's nice to meet you." Just like when him and her were strangers. Now she's done with part of her work, but she still has to keep the rest. Her scissors have now been stained red. The more she sharpens, the better they cut. Chapter 6. Mr. Griffin's Court of Greed. Today was a disgraced administration of the judge with charges decided by the defendant's wealth. A 39-year-old judge just desired for money more than justice. Even if a victim's a scandal, will save them if they pay up. According to him, money is the best law in Jisatsu. The judge is named James Griffin. James doesn't care about what they look like, how old they are, their skin, or their gender. All he cares is the wealth. Well, their life depends on them, so if they help, they'll show him the money. Yes, their sins are his corporation, as he is in fact a corrupted judge. If they want to rescue from swamp of all strangers, they'll have to hand him more of that ka-ching! For the sake of his daughter, Gabriella, he needs money. If he collects the 7 objects of sin, he'll wish will come true. Today, in the unfolding courtroom, James laughs weakly as he hears the cries of innocence. Yes, their sins are his corporation, as he is in fact a corrupted judge. If this grant his own dearest wish, James will continue to hit gavel on the block. A fictitious general is a mass murderer. A capital crime charge is natural to James, so he was handed a bribe, making him declare the defendant innocent. In the resulting rage, a civil war began. The general was killed. His miserable corpse is exposed on the field. In the forest that the anger comes to face James, and his court blazes. If him and Gabriella were together, he has nothing to fear. From the burned down, people will probably find the remains of him and her. When he woke up, the place he was alone in the gate, he is a Gribless. It's either that or Tengoku. That's decided by the master herself. But still, even if a victim's a scoundrel, he'll save them if he gives money. He still thinks that the best lawyer is money. James smiled at Sam, the master of Gribless, and said, "I'll never sacrifice my fortune." He knew his body fell down to Gribless for what he'd done. Yes, all the sins are his consideration alone. In legacy, he is still a corrupted judge. No matter who it is, he won't approve of anyone judging the sin of him. One day, James will gather up every single fragment of sin in his hand. In that moment, he'll turn Gribless into him and his daughter's utopia. Chapter 7. Miss Warren's Revenge of Wrath. "See the man! Come, repent!" yelled Emily, aiming the muzzle of her gun at James, a judge who ruined many people and filled his own pockets. For the sake of him, she even killed the one she loved. She didn't shot herself as well, but she couldn't die. "The time has come for my revenge. Now, repent!" repeated Emily. Emily said her hellos and goodbyes at James' court. Her has been set on fire. He has to choose a path, if his brow will be shot or burn up in the fire. She thinks that any scoundrel should be granted a chance for atonement. Therefore, she said this to him: "Relinquish your fortune to me. If you pay back the people for who you stole everything, I shall at least spare your life." He replied, "I will never hand over my fortune." He couldn't be helped, so she had to repent after all. Emily continued to say her hellos and goodbyes. James is in fact a corrupted judge that drowned himself in greed. She wants people's hatred, including hers, washed over him and sleep. Before reincarnation, her mother labored on her own to raise Emily. She was born in a desert house in the forest. She didn't see her father. Now, James is already done for her. He's insane. The doll seems like a sister to her, but she has already sunk into the dark bottom a long time ago. Emily is the only daughter. "Hey, look at me," said Emily. "Look at me too." Now Emily said her final hellos and goodbyes. He's a hitman boss and a corrupted judge. Indeed, she wonders why her mother would have such a man. With this is surely over, so she wants to put an end to everything. She wants to say farewell to the evil, sinful story. The end.